about the small things in your life right now. They have a saying that the journey of 1,000 miles, it starts with a single step. That's a Chinese proverb. All right. And so we can gain the wisdom from the Chinese. We can gain the wisdom from the Africans. We can gain the wisdom from the Native Americans. Guess what? I have a book at home called The Wisdom of the Native Americans. And there are individuals that live in this land, America. Some will say Morocco. Some will say Morocco, or you can go on about what this place is called. They would say that the natives lived in this land. These were people that was natives to America. Well, guess what? They had wisdom. And so some of that stuff was passed down. Some of the people, even those of us that subscribe to certain beliefs, believe that we were already here in the land of America. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But there's wisdom in other people. There's another saying that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, link up with someone else. These are other different proverbs that may not come from the book of Proverbs and King Solomon. So we welcome that as well. When you have the chat, when you can send those in the messages, you can send those proverbs as well. So the journey of 1,000 miles, when you're looking at all the way down the road, look at what the Most High did to Abraham. Did the Most High show Abraham the whole vision all at once? Anyone, real quickly.
No, he
Can we get some
didn't.
head shaking? Nah, he didn't.
We didn't.
He said, as far as your eyes can see. And so when Abraham went as far as his eyes can see, then the Most High opened up his eyes and expanded his vision even further. And so this is what I want to encourage you all about today is that, listen here, you might have this vision, that it might be extensive. It might be big. Your vision might be able to change the trajectory of this whole world. But guess what? There are small steps. King David, or some would say Dawid or Dawood, right? Before he started to rule over the children of Israel, guess what? He had to deal with a small group of men first. And then that small group of men, it turned into 400 men, what the scripture calls them worthless men, people that was in debt, people that was estranged. Guess what? He was anointed as king of Israel, but he had to run for his life. Make that make sense. So I'm trying to tell some of you all today, when the Most High can be ready to bring you up to a whole higher status, but you don't see that the fact that there are some things that you're going to have to go through as you're building incrementally. So though thy beginning was small, thy latter end shall greatly increase. I don't want to sound like a false prophet on here. I want to say everyone's on this line, is latter end is greatly increased. Because if you don't believe that, if you believe that you're going to have a terrible end, then guess what? My belief is probably not going to overpower what you believe about yourself. But my ending is going to be better. That's why I have to make better decisions. All right, so let me stick to what I'm saying. There is a principle called the slight edge. And for those of you that's in the business world, you heard of a man named Jeff Olson. There's a book out called The Slight Edge. Now, I think this book now, I think last time I saw it, he had this book at like $200. It started off at like 15 or 20 bucks. And I think because of the demand for it, he took it up to like $200. It's crazy. But it talks about the simplicity of things. It's the complex of how we make things so complex that are actually simple. So pay attention. They said, Abraham Lincoln said this. He said, if I had 4 hours to chop down the tree, I would spend 3 hours sharpening my axe. We want to start swinging at the tree immediately. You know, we got Kakum over here. He's a nature man over there, right? We want to start getting out there and start hitting this tree right away. Hitting the tree, right? Instead of getting over there, sharpening that iron, getting that iron together. And this is what we're trying to do today with this mentorship. We're trying to give you all the tools to start sharpening your iron. Work on yourself behind the doors, behind the scenes, when no one is watching. They say, listen here, there's a saying in the business world about Malcolm Gladwell. They say it takes 10,000 hours to be a master at something. How many of you all put your 10,000 hours in on anything yet? All right. You can say you can hear church mice, right? You got to put the time in to be considered a master, to be able to go to a place and demand a price, and go to a place and demand respect. People need to know you for an expert in that space. So pay attention to this. Brian Tracy in the business world, he said a successful life is comprised of a series of successful days and events. And so this is what we all need to pay attention to. This is if we look at the basis of our whole life, we have to go ahead and master today. And today, what it says in wisdom, boast not thyself on tomorrow, but focus on today. We need to make the best out of every day that we have. And one of the ways that we can make the best out of each and every single day is to stop this scrolling right here. This Black Mirror, this thing is called the Black Mirror. The time that we spend on this, if we would reduce that by a half, imagine if you cut your. I was in Baltimore, Maryland, just speaking at a conference a few weeks ago, and I talked to some young men in the room, and they said that one guy said he didn't even know how long he spent on his phone every single day. The other person said he spent about 6 hours on his phone every single day. When we was watching television, they said the average adult spend 4 hours a day. Now it's on your phone. So imagine if you was taking that 4 hours that you spent scrolling and you went MIA for a minute, or you just checked your post just to see if someone left you a message, or just to see if you had a notification, and you got right back out of there and got back to business. Imagine if you was taking those 4 hours that you were spending in social media trying to create content, trying to be noticed by people, and you spent that into reading a book about business. You spent that into pouring more time into your scriptures. You spent that more into prospecting and making phone calls and going up to people and handing out flyers and doing more things that were productive and conducive to your success than to sit over here and be wasting time scrolling. Listen here, this is one of the most upset I get is when I look back over my day and I said, man, I just was watching one video and that one video turned into 5 videos. And at the end of the time, an hour and 45, 2 hours of my day, I spent right here on the phone watching stuff. That's how it is. So, coming to you in a second. So, small steps. The small steps, they don't get recognized. People in the background, they don't see what you're doing behind the scenes. There is a saying that what you do in secret shall be manifest in the open. It's going to come, it's going to be manifest. So that's why they say that the average speaker, those that's trying to engage audiences, they say that the amateurs spend more time speaking, and the professional, they spend more time practicing. Let me say that more time. The amateurs spend more time out in the front, looking like they're a professional, but the professional is in the background, mastering their craft, working on their skills, working on their delivery. See the amateur, he practices it till he gets it right, but the professional practices until they can't get it wrong. It's a difference in the two. But you have to start with the small steps, the incremental things every single day, the things that don't amount to nothing. Listen, for those of y'all heard me give this analogy of lifting weights, for those of you that like to lift. So I was in there working on my bench press. And so a person gave me a key. So a person gave me a key and he said, this is how you can, get stronger. So I was lifting 225 pounds, lifting 225 pounds, and I was really progressing further than that. And so what the game that he gave me was, he said, listen here, do this. Do 20 reps, no matter what. If you only do 4 here, you only do 3 here, you only do 5 here, make sure you go to 20, because I would do 10 or something, and then I can only be able to come back and do 3 or 4. And now I'm doing 2, and then I'm doing 1. He said, no, build your way up to 20. I start building my way up to 20, and next thing you know, my bench press started to increase. Next thing you know, I was able to do 315. Next thing you know, I was able to do 335 on the Smith. All right, some people don't count the Smith, but no, Smith is like 40 pounds different than the average weight. But on the actual just sit down bench, I was able to throw a 400 on there. So this started by incremental improvement. This is what we all need to be pushing towards right here. All right. Take a moment to celebrate your small victories. This is what I want to encourage you all on, because on the journey of looking all the way down the road, it's easy to get frustrated with not seeing the progress right now. So that's why it's important that you set goals for yourself. That's why it's very important that you set benchmarks. And so when you get to that goal, okay, what is your goal for this year? Someone on this live may have a goal. They say, listen, I want to make $75,000. I want to make $100,000, whatever that goal is. So now we got to go back to the drawing board and we got to work our way back. What is it going to take for you to get to that 70 or to that 100 or to that 150? What is it going to take for you to get there? How much do you need to earn per week? Do you know your number? How much is that a month? Do you know your number? How much do you need to be getting paid per day to reach your deck? So this is how you, some people, they say that you work your way back. And so you start, or you can work your way from the beginning. So let's break this down for a second. $100,000. How many people on the live, you want to put your hand up in the chat? How many people believe that you're able to achieve $100,000? If you would throw your hands up in the chat real quick. Real quick, all right? So let's talk about $100,000 real quick. I want to break this down. $100,000 because where I'm from, you make 100 grand. I mean, you're doing all right, especially if you could do it legally. All right. We have some people out in the streets that was doing it illegally, but legally. So this is what $100,000 look like. This is why it's important for you. I want you to write this down. If you haven't been taking notes yet, I want you to write this down on paper. Know your number. Know your number. You have to know your number. All right, this is the game. This is the goal right here. And I know that we don't make money the goal. Money is not the God. Money is not what we're chasing. We don't chase after riches, but some of us have obligations. Some of us have debts. Some of us have things that we want to get out of our life. Some of us want to go buy houses and lands or properties. Some of us want to have multiple vehicles. Some of us want to move into a different neighborhood. Some of us want to go help people in villages in Africa and Haiti and the Dominican Republic and Jamaica. And we have a larger vision of just ourselves. So here, pay attention. This is the $100,000 breakdown right here. $100,000 in a year. This goes to $8,334 a month. When you break that down, it's $2,083 a week. When you break that down, it's $297 a day. So if you want to make $100,000 in a year, you need to find something that's going to pay you $297 a day. And now, for those of us, a majority of us on the line, we work 6 days and we rest on the 7th. So that means that this is based off of 7-day figures right here. So now you're gonna have to make a little bit more than $297. You might have to make around $305 a day. That's to make the goal realistic. Now, some of you might say, listen, I was with you until you broke those numbers down. I don't see how I can manage that. All right, so if you don't feel like 100,000 is reachable to you, attainable to you, about the 70, you got to do the same thing. You got to walk your way down from 70 or 60 or 50. Some people, $50,000 a year would change their life. That's about $4,000 or $5,000 a month almost. And so, but what are you doing to obtain that? Wishful thinking is not going to get you there. I know online we talk about the affirmations, and we're talking about, just throwing out there and just speaking into existence. All that. No, it's going to have to be work that's involved in it. So let's continue. Take a moment to celebrate your small victories. That's what I wanted to say before I went into the breaking down this $100,000. This is what you want to do for yourself. It's very therapeutic to go treat yourself to a meal, treat yourself to a dinner, treat yourself to a hotel getaway. Go somewhere and celebrate your small victories, because if you do not, you're going to feel like the hamster on the wheel. Who on this live right here want to feel like the hamster on the wheel? Anyone on here want to feel like the hamster on the wheel? You want to feel like all you do every day is just to get up every single day and work? All just to pay bills, just to do it all over again? No, you celebrate. Go somewhere and celebrate. Go get you a nice meal, treat yourself like royalty, and then now you have achieved something aiming towards that bigger goal that you have. But what we want to do is, I haven't made the quantum leap yet. I'm not what so-and-so is doing. We need to stop comparing ourselves to someone else's and look at our own field. We have acres of diamonds in our own backyard. Whether you living in a house, whether you living in an apartment, whether you sleeping in your car, wherever you find yourself, if you're on the road and you're in your truck and you're sleeping in your truck, you have acres of diamonds right there. What it says, the prophet Solomon said, in all labor there is profit. There is something profitable even at McDonald's. There's something profitable about whatever job that every one of you will have right now. There's something profitable about it. It's up to you to find the treasure that's hidden. And in that, what the Richest Man Babylon talk about. For those of you that have that book, anyone have that book on here, The Richest Man Babylon? Not yet, not yet. All right, The Richest Man of Babylon. It tells you it will be wise for you to start with the stream of income that you already have now. So me, I had to start my journey with money that I made shining shoes, or money I made in the used car industry. I had to start my journey of investing that type of way. And then, so when you use that main source of income, it opens up doors for you to use other streams. It then start put money over here, put money over to some stocks. All right, I see you over there, Sean, the stock investor, right? I want to talk to you as well, Sean. Put some money into some stocks. Then you might be able to put some money into some cash life value life insurance. Put some money over here. Put some money over there. What does it say in the book of Ecclesiastes? It say, give a portion to 7, give a portion to 8. Give me a second. I'm trying to adjust this real quick. All right, give a portion to 7, give a portion to 8. That's when your investments start to matriculate all over the place. But the small things, all right? Also, let's pay attention to this. When I share a wealth principle with certain individuals, and I talk to them about getting on their journey of building wealth, and I tell them about the rich man Babylon. All right, listen, the Bible is the ultimate source. This is I've seen so many nuggets, wisdom nuggets in these 2 books. It's undeniable. I've wrote books off from these 2 books right here. All right, but the Bible, a lot of times it doesn't go deeper and deeper and deeper. It'll give you the principle, it'll give you the instruction, but it don't go deeper and deeper. And that's what some of these books do. These individuals have taken the principle from the scripture and they went deeper and deeper and deeper, and they put practicality with it. And so with the practicality of building wealth is that first you got to start somewhere. And some of you all have still, I've talked to some of you all on the phone. And I'll talk to some of you all on the phone in person. I ask you, okay, have you started paying yourself first? Yeah, I haven't started paying myself first. What are you waiting for? Some of you all are in your 20s. Remember when we bought the financial advisor on last mentorship? Or was it 2 mentorships on 2 sessions before that? And the man was telling you all in your 20s how you all could build a massive portfolio by having a Roth IRA and a SEP IRA and these business accounts and all these things that you could start in your 20s that I wish I would have started in my 20s. But you all have that access. All right, so I'm coming to you, Sean. Jamal had his hand up here as well. I'm almost finished. Give me 1 second. I'm going to Jamal, then I'm going to Sean, all right? So pay attention to this. Now, how many of you all want to be proficient in the scriptures? Let's throw some hands up. How many of you all want to be able to be very proficient when it comes to explaining what you believe in? All right, so when I came into the walk, when I was amazed by how individuals can grab the scriptures and line upon line, precept on precept, and I was just so, man, I was like, whoa, man, I want that. And so I went from calling individuals, asking them, hey, where was that scripture that you was talking about? To individuals calling me and asking me where the scriptures is at. And why and how did that happen? Because I started small. I started incrementally. I started off by reading 1 chapter of Proverbs every single day. And then I started to say, well, listen, that's not enough. I have to read more than Proverbs a day. And so when I was in between customers at my shoe shine stand, I was reading the scriptures throughout the whole day. I'm talking about if you add up the time, it was for hours. And so when I start putting that time in between my customers, this was like 2012. I'm at my shoe shine stand, and so I'm reading and reading and reading. Next thing you know, people start coming onto the phone. They start calling me. Hey, where was that scripture at? Where was that scripture at? And then next thing you know, it start compounding. And this is what your knowledge will do. It will start compounding over time. But you have to put in the small effort first. You might be able to say, listen, I'm going to start off with 1 chapter a day. Then I'm gonna start with 1 chapter a day. Now we're gonna pump this thing up to 30 minutes a day. You'll be amazed at what you can get from your word. You'll be amazed at what you can get from the ancient wisdom, the writings, if you invested 30 minutes a day into your reading. Guess what happens here, you all? Your understanding of the scripture is going to go to a whole nother level. Imagine if you put a minute, imagine if you put an hour a day into your scripture. What is it going to do to your brain? What is it going to do when it says that the reverence of the Most High is the instructions of wisdom, and a good understanding have all those that do his commandments? What's that going to do when you start to read it and it starts to be a part of your being? Through thy precepts, I get understanding. When I start to read, when I start to apply, like Kakum said, when I start to apply the application of it, it starts to make me understand why it's even given to me in the first place. Like a nice amount of us on the line, we don't eat pork. Now that's the instruction. Do not touch the swine. But When you start to use it in your everyday application, you get to understand that the pig is associated with, they say, 70 different diseases. Oh, one person that I know that's an elder, all right, he said that he was back in Chicago. He said that he was out there dealing with the Muslim brothers in Chicago, and he said that they did an experiment when he was 15 years old. They brought him into this lab. They put a microscope down, and they grabbed a piece of bacon. They put a microscope down onto this piece of bacon, and they zoomed in on it. And when they zoomed in on this piece of bacon, it was all kind of maggots and all kind of stuff all in the bacon, swimming around, all in the bacon. And at that moment, he was only 15 years old. At that moment, he said he'd never eat pork again. He would never eat bacon. He would never eat pork. Now, this brother now, of course, he got a different way of looking at things now, but his way of looking at pork is the same. He ain't touched that pork. He ain't never messed with it. So when you start keeping it, you start to understand more. He gives you a great understanding, but that starts with the small steps, doing the incremental thing, one chapter a day. Everyone on here can do it one chapter a day. Everyone on here can read 15 minutes a day. Okay, once you graduate for 15 minutes, what about 30 minutes a day? What about 30 minutes a day? Darren the Inspirer. Some of y'all hear Darren the Inspirer. Y'all hear, I mean, how amazing he sounds. All the nuggets that Darren drops week after week, month after month, year after year. But guarantee you that ain't just drop out the side and smack Darren the Inspirer in his face. All that knowledge that he had, guess what? He was immersing himself into understanding. He was reading. He was listening. He was taking stuff in little by little. You know how when I close out the wisdom and wealth, I say, continue to keep walking in wisdom, continue to do the things that lead to optimal health, continue to lay the bricks that lead to generational wealth. We are laying bricks right now. We're laying a foundation for this mentorship, but it starts by the small things, the bricks, the foundation. When you're going to look at a house, they're going to see, what is your foundation looking like? And some of you all are trying to build things on a foundation that's not solid. First of all right, as you're building small, make sure the Most High is at the forefront of everything you're doing. Make sure that your foundation is solid and that it's not going to be like the sandy foundation. When the wind comes through, it's just going to blow it away. Make sure that you're building your stuff on a rock. I tell my children, I got some brilliant children. The Creator has given me some intelligent children. And one of them on this line today, and he's got a bachelor's degree now. All right, I thank the Most High for him. And but guess what? I said my children, but he's a young adult now. But guess what? I tell them this: the key to your success is keeping the Most High first. I don't care what you know. I don't care your intellect. I don't care if they think your IQ is 1,000 on a scale of 100 something. Listen here, if you don't keep the Creator first, you're in sinking sand already. And that's the problem with a lot of us. We have been trying to build small without the Most High being a part of it. Now we're trying to welcome him. Hey, listen here, bring him back into the fold. So I'm about to open it up here as well. I just want to make sure that don't leave out anything else here. Okay, going back to the Rich Man Babylon. Pay yourself first. 10% in that book. If you don't have the book, you can go and look at it on YouTube, on audio. You can just type in Rich Man Babylon on YouTube, and that book is going to pop up. You can just listen to the audio. It got Babylonian stuff on there, so if you're mature enough, you can move through all that, all right? But the financial wisdom is on there. Is going to be like, it's like for those of you that know about this book right here, the Apocrypha, y'all know I love Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach. And it's like Proverbs on steroids. It's the only book that I read in the scriptures that make my brain sizzle when I read it. Where the Richest Man of Babylon is like that. It's like that on the financial level. When you read that, it makes your brain sizzle. Little bitty book, but it's a lot of wisdom in there. Pay yourself first. 10%. This is why a lot of people don't want to start doing the 10%. Why? Because I don't see the results right now. Oh, if I get me a check of $1,000, I only put up 100. I only got $100. It's only $100. That ain't gonna do nothing. But you looking at, but you failing to realize what that 100 gonna be in the whole year from now. If you put aside 100 per week, that's $5,200 that you have to invest this time next year. Oh, that's only $5,200. Where guess what? Next year is going to come by anyway. If the Most High says the same, if we're still going to be here next year anyway, would you rather have zero and spending all your money, or would you have $5,200 to the side? This is not including the other money that you already have. This is to the side. And now that 5,200, and guess what happens? This is how life works. How many of you on the live, real quickly, I'm about to go ahead and turn it over here to Swaggy. How many of you on this live have come across opportunities that you wish you had the money to jump on at that moment? Come on, real quick. Throw some hands up in the chat. Real quick. All right. Everyone on the live has had opportunities. And so guess what? You have to be ready and prepared when the opportunity comes. Because listen here, I'm not trying to get all worldly and secular for those of us that keep the Sabbath day and all that. But there's a song by Eminem. He said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity come once in a lifetime. Opportunities don't come every single day. Opportunities are not coming to you. Oh, and some of you all say, well, I could just mess this job up. I go get another one tomorrow. It's not always like that. You have to master the small thing. You have to be grateful for the small thing, because he that is faithful over a few things will eventually become ruler over many.